for you this lesson from Unity of the Keys Spiritual Center.
Well, hello, everyone. Kevin, would it be possible to share my slides?
I believe so. Give it a try here.
Okay, great.
We're not seeing them on this end.
Okay, it says sharing is not turned on my end.
Okay.
And if we don't, it's perfectly perfect. I can talk through it.
We may have to just talk through it here.
Okay, no worries. Then I shall talk through it. So thank you, everyone, for having me here today. I prepared a talk. The title of the talk is Sacred Messenger, The Black Sheep's Journey to Wholeness and Peace. And I've been holding this in prayer for a while, so I am thrilled to be able to share it with you today. So Martin Luther King Jr. says that peace is not the absence of tension, but the presence of justice. And so today, across the world, we pause for sacred recognition. And that's the International Day of Peace, a global call to lay down arms, to ease the division, and to remember that beneath all the noise, we are one human family. And I find that message so necessary, especially in these times. I don't know about you. And you know, this invitation for peace isn't just about looking outward. True peace, the kind that heals families, that ends wars, and that changes lives, really begins within you, within me, within every sacred soul who dares to remember who we truly are. And so today, we're just going to take a moment here to journey inward and to reclaim the peace of our own being. So, friends, as we start this talk, take a breath here with me. Go ahead and inhale right now. And then exhale. Let your body soften. And as we arrive, let's begin our talk. So, you know, my work as a minister and a spiritual mentor has been about walking beside people who are in pain, not necessarily because they're violent or divisive, but because they've been somewhat disconnected from their own soul. Um, some of us might feel exhausted from trying to fit in, to be quote unquote normal, to be what others expect, even if it means abandoning who we really are. And so, if that sounds familiar to you, um, it might sound familiar to you, right? Because this talk is about being the black sheep and how that really is a sacred space to hold, right? So I am speaking to those of us who have always felt a little different. Maybe you were the sensitive one, or maybe you were the intuitive one. Maybe you're one that asked too many questions when you were a child, or maybe still you're asking too many questions. Or maybe you loved too deeply, you know, whatever it is, too happy, too hopeful, too curious. It's the one who felt like maybe an outsider in your very own family. And so, your difference, my friends, and I'm going to say this kind of as a bookmark here, your difference is not a defect, it is your divine design. So, if you're feeling different in some way or another, and you don't feel like you quite fit in, or like, you know, from your family of upbringing, um, you are the sacred black sheep. And you're in good company, and you didn't come to conform. You came to transmute. Okay, so I had to look up that word because I want to explain it. Transmute means to change something from one form, one state, or one nature into another, into something that is higher, and even more refined. So you're actually transforming the lower energies into higher ones. So examples would be transforming shame into self-love, or fear into courage, or even our trauma into wisdom. So it's not about erasing or bypassing, not at all. You know, this is the hard stuff in life, right? But it's about alchemizing it, bringing it together, including and transcending all of that, taking what was felt as like very heavy or painful and turning it into light, into power, and more importantly and more appropriately for today, into peace. And so it is to heal your lineage, it is to break patterns, it is to begin again. That's what it means to be the black sheep, right? So when we betray ourselves in order to keep the peace, my friends, what we're doing is really silencing our soul. And that silence is not peace. That silence, I might say, is inner warfare. And so I'm going to share with you somewhat of a personal story, one that has been lived most of my life, right? One that shaped not just how I see myself, but how I choose to show up, even when it's not comfortable. And so some of us may know I am the baby of 8 children, 7 girls, 1 boy, and then there was me, baby. I was born nearly a decade after the rest of the children, and in a different time, in a different season. So I was born in Vietnam, and I was 5 years old when we fled the war and came to America as refugees in 1979. Now, my older sisters were already teenagers when we arrived, 16, 17, 18, and so forth. And they were learning to drive while I was learning to tie my shoes. And I didn't grow up with them so much as underneath them. I was, the kind of the child that kind of ran after the big kids, right? We went to different schools. There was a different culture, a different mother even. Not that, the birth mother is different, but because my mom had me in her late 30s and I got the gentler, older version of her that my siblings didn't. So I always felt like I lived in a parallel universe to theirs. I was the odd one out. So some of us may remember the sitcom The Munsters back in, I don't know, I think I watched it when I was a child, black and white, The Munsters. And I grew up like Maryland most of the time, right? That the quote normal one who was seen as strange just for being who she was. I grew up as the black sheep in my family, not quite fitting the family mold. I thought differently, I felt differently, and no matter how much I tried to color inside the lines, I kept reaching for the edges. And here's what I want to share with you. For years, I kept quiet. I kept my strange ideas to myself because, the Chinese culture, you gotta be quiet and like respect the elders and don't talk back and on and on and on, right? I hid my curiosity behind politeness. Um, I tried to squelch my spice, tone it down, fit in, be quiet, be bland. And why? Why? Because I didn't feel safe being me. And after all, think about it, the trauma of running from war lives in my blood. So it just didn't feel safe for me to do that, especially when the adults around me did not condone being yourself. So staying invisible was how my people survived. So survival, friends, what I realized is that it's not the same as living. And then one day I decided I'm not here to be quiet. I am not here to be beige. I'm here to color outside the box. Even when my voice trembles, even when my body fears. And let me tell you, it was really uncomfortable. And through the years, I got comfortable being in the discomfort of it all. And I did it anyway. And that's when I realized that, hey, guess what, Ev? I am the descendant of a long line of black sheep. There must have been others in my lineage who dreamed in colors, who spoke truths before their time, who stirred the pot so others could one day drink the medicine. And I carry them in me. And now I live for more than just myself. I live to honor that sacred rebellion that just stirs within. Now, if this is touching a chord with you, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So as I age, um, I realize that as I'm aging, I am not becoming tamer. I am realizing just how spicy I really am. And it's funny because I'm sitting in Thailand right now. I love the spice because without it, I would never have become the woman here today before you. And so that's a little bit of sharing about my story. And now I'm going to ask you, where in your life have you felt like the black sheep? Maybe it was your family of origin, your school, your religion of upbringing, your friend circle. Maybe you had kept your ideas small just to stay safe. But what if your uniqueness was never a flaw, but that it was an invitation? What if your spicy, wild, wildly quirky, strange, weirdo you self is exactly what's needed to liberate not only your life, but your lineage, to free your ancestors? So here's the question. Where have you felt out of place? Now think about this, wherever you felt out of place in the past. How has that very difference been a blessing? What sacred change has moved through you because you didn't blend in? What progress has unfolded, not in spite of your difference, but because of it? Because of it. So, my friends, your difference is your power. This is your medicine. That is your Marilyn moment. And today, I invite you to celebrate it, to see it, to bring it out of the shadow, to embrace it, to love it, to integrate it, to transmute it, and just be it, because you are the only special you in the whole span of time, universe, place, dimension. And so the moment becomes sacred, my friends, when you realize that you are never, never broken. So in that moment, I realized I was never broken. And in that moment, actually, when I'm not broken, you're not broken either. We were never broken. We weren't meant to just belong there. We were meant to belong to ourselves. All of us. We, each and every single one of us, are sovereign, not because someone gave us permission, but because our soul remembers what the world forgot. True freedom is not just about outer liberty, it's about inner power to live aligned to our truth. And that kind of freedom comes with a sacred weight. It's a holy, holy responsibility to bear the sacred path of the black sheep. We must choose our voice when silence feels safer. We must remember our worth when the world forgets, when they paint over our rainbow, right? Yep, it's uncomfortable. And especially when trauma taught us to stay small. But discomfort is not a stop sign. Discomfort is not a stop sign. It is the birthing ground of our becoming. And we're not just the black sheep, friends. We're the pattern breakers. We're the soul liberators. Every time we choose truth, we light the path for others who come after us. This is what it means to be sovereign, to lead with soul, and to be free together. And so the black sheep is the outsider. The sacred outsider is, my friends, the peace bringer. And so Desmond Tutu says, if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. So many of us make the mistake of keeping the peace by keeping quiet because a lot of us are 9s on the Enneagram. But my friends, real peace doesn't ask us to disappear. It invites us to stand fully in who we are with grace and with truth. The black sheep in every soul family is not a mistake. They are often the healer, the truth teller, and the sacred messenger. So our scriptures tell us, Matthew 5:9, they tell us that blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. And so we shall be called it, right? And the peacemakers, my friends, are not always meek and mild. Sometimes they're fierce. They shake things up. They say what no one else has the courage to say. They say peace not by pleasing others, but by being whole within themselves. We get to be whole within ourselves, true to who they are, their soul's makeup. So A Course in Miracles teaches us, do not seek for peace outside of yourself. That's very wise and very sage. So if you've ever felt like, or if you've ever been the outsider, you're in good company. I bless you. You are not alone. So you are the beginning of a new story. And guess what? You're the change agent of, if you're the black sheep of your family, you're the change agent of your family. A revolutionary to clear the energy and the path for all those who come after you. You pave the way to become the legacy. And so as we take that message, I want to practice inner peace just for a breath or two. So as you are, go ahead and breathe in that message that you are the sacred messenger. And if you're called right now, place one hand over your heart, maybe the other over your belly, and close your eyes if it feels good. Inhale. And slowly exhale. Say softly to yourself, I am the peace I have been waiting for. Again, I am the peace I have been waiting for. Now ask yourself gently, what part of me have I rejected in order to be accepted? What would it feel like to welcome that part of me home? My friends, you don't need to fix it all today. We just get to begin with sacred awareness because that is where peace begins. You were born with wings. Why prefer to crawl through life? Is one of my favorite quotes from Rumi. So here's what I want you to leave with, dear one. The peace you long to see in the world, the vision of unity, harmony, and healing, it isn't just a dream. It is your birthright, and it starts with how you treat yourself. We sing it at every service. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. So let us become keepers of that inner flame. Let us become peace embodied. And let us forgive ourselves and reclaim that the sacred parts that we silence. So let us come home, and to the black sheep, to the sacred black sheep among us. May you rise in your full power. May you walk this earth as the truth of who you are. May your peace ripple outward, healing the world one breath at a time. Take one final breath here together, my friends. And bow gently to yourself and know that you are not alone. You are not too much. You are exactly who peace has been waiting for. And may peace begin with you.